Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a South African man. I used to be a pastor. I used to preach each and every Sunday wearing my suit. Will go to church with my family, always quoting Pastor Chris Oyakilome's teachings in our church. And I would scream, I would jump, I would pray for people. But when the lights would go off, when me and my wife would go back home, we would go back hungry because I was not satisfied with the salary that I was earning. As a pastor, I thought that I was going to make a lot of money. This was the reason as to why I agreed when in our community, when the church said that they wanted to start the church in our community, and I had been selected to become a preacher at first, and then I became a pastor. I thought that these pastors were getting paid a lot of money with a lot of benefits, but all that I got were promises, and the money was not enough. I was still believing that in time God was going to bless me, and even my wife, she was filled with great belief that we were going to become multimillionaires. My wife started selling Avon just to keep electricity on. There were even times when I would even pretend as if I would be fasting. Daddy is fasting. I would tell my children, because the food that will be in the house, it will be only for the kids and my wife. I loved the church. I really did love the church, but you can only preach prosperity for so long before poverty starts laughing at your prayers. I was tired of doing too many piece jobs without people knowing, so that I can just buy another suit. I left quietly, no scandal, just broke, and I was bitter. I wanted to start my own church. I saw all the money that was being given to church, and I would calculate the love offering each and every Sunday, and then the salary that I would be given. It was not enough on top of the tithe that the people in our church were giving. So I said, let me start my own, but I did not know how to gather all the people so that they can give me money. A few months later, a man that I once knew, who was also going to Christ Embassy, but he had left the church and was now working for another man. I did not know at that time that this man that had started his own church, that he had also came to South Africa. He used to be like a sangoma, and this man reached out to me and he said that he was working with a big prophet from Nigeria. He was famous and he was having a lot of followers. They said that he was building a global ministry and he was looking for, in brackets, loyal sons. And I said, I have been loyal before, but the problem is that the money that I was getting, the salary was not enough. Hence, I have thought of getting a regular job. He told me that this one is going to pay you a lot of money. I said, okay, it is fine. Out of hunger, not faith. That was the mistake that I did ever since I had joined from Christ Embassy. It was all about money. All that I did was to look at Pastor Chris and to envy him, to become like him. And when I did not make enough money within a couple of months, I started to hate his prosperity gospel. And then that was when I was taken to this other house in Johannesburg North. That was where we were going to have a meeting where we were going to be prayed for by the prophet that had came to Nigeria. This man, to my surprise, he did not even open the Bible or anything. There was nothing that resembled Christianity in this man. And this man then said, it is fine, I'm going to pray for you. He then called me and he started praying, but the problem that I started to experience after he had prayed for me was that I was having dreams and sleepless nights. I was always in a river. When I would be in that river, then I would see that prophet, the man of God. He would be on the other side of the river and he will say, Pastor T, I want you to cross the river so that you can be here. Look at all the trees. it is harvest season. So I would see trees of oranges, apples, and I was supposed to harvest all of those apples, and it was me and other people that were already on the other side that were helping him with the harvest. And when I would try to cross the river to go to him, then that is when I would see a very big serpent that will be swimming in the river, and I would get scared and I would wake up. So I was then taken to Nigeria. And the other thing was that this man, we were told that in his presence, we should never mention Jesus. So when we were told that we were never supposed to mention Jesus in front of him, it did not make sense to me. But anyway, because of the promise, when you have left a job, let's say at a certain job, you were getting paid 2,000 rands, then you get a job where you are going to get paid 22,000 rands. That percentage, it is a lot. Your life will change drastically. And I was in that situation where I used to earn less. Now I was moving up, and I was going to be able to manage a very comfortable lifestyle. So I said, it is fine. If the man of God does not want us to mention the name of Jesus Christ in front of him, then I will just respect his wishes and do whatever that he wants me to do. Besides, this is a man that communicates directly with the Lord. Maybe this man, he has been given a brand new revelation by God himself, because this man was very powerful, even though he had some weird things that he used to do. So then that was when I was taken to Nigeria for spiritual blessings. When we were taken to Nigeria, it was me, and then there was this other pastor that was from Namibia. And I met up with other pastors as well that were from different provinces, but here in our country. And they were specifically targeting South Africa because that was where they wanted this church to be more popular. This pastor, whom I later found out that he was just a Sangoma who had became a prophet, and he just wanted to start his church in South Africa. We landed there in Nigeria, and then we were taken to different hotels, and we met two other pastors from Ghana, as well as that guy from Namibia and one from Kenya. And there was also a white guy that had came from overseas. That night, that was when we were all given robes, and we were supposed to meet at this other house. Since we were staying at different hotels, we did not know that we all had been given these robes. So I took, and I had a candle, and I had a metallic bowl. It was a silver metallic bowl that we went with to that house. And then that was when we were told that we were going to be initiated, and this initiation, it was going to give us powers so that when we are preaching, when we are praying for people, then the Holy Spirit will rain down from heaven, and we will start to perform miracles and wonders in our countries. And when I returned back to South Africa, at that time, I knew the things that I was getting myself involved in, and this was pure witchcraft that I had been chasing. Even though I wanted money, this had all to do with Satanism. I was not sure about this. I was then given a car, but this car that was given to me, it was a rental car, but it was very flashy and expensive. Then we started staying in the suburbs. Life was moving according to plan. I even intended to steal people from the assembly which I used to lead when I was still at Christ Embassy, because a lot of people, they were amazed at how God had blessed me. People thought that maybe by leaving the church I was going to be cursed by God, but now I had a new car, which they did not know that it was a monthly rental car that the church was now renting for me, including the house. I would tell people that it had been bought for me by that Nigerian prophet that I was now working for. And what he did was that he made me to enjoy the manifest. And yes, I enjoyed. For the first time in my life, me and my wife, we then went on our vacation. When we returned back from the vacation, that was when my child got so sick, and I returned to Nigeria because I wanted the prophet to pray for my child. And the prophet then told me to speak with his assistant before you could pray for my child. And I was told that in order for my child to be okay, I had to pay my dues. I said, what dues are you talking about? And then that was when I was told that since I had joined Satanism, I was supposed to find someone to sacrifice, someone that was mentally ill back in my country. This was the most scariest thing that someone had told me. I left Nigeria even though my child was so sick, but I gave myself that promise that I will never do something like that, to spill human blood, for this person was supposed to be killed, like physically, in order for me to gain the spiritual powers. I then returned back to South Africa, and when I came back, they reminded me, this happened for 3 years, when they reminded me to perform the rituals to pay my dues. And when they saw that I was unable to do that, that was when they told me to vacate their premises. Brother Nashid, they took everything from me. There was another pastor who came from Pretoria West, and I was told that I was supposed to minister with this pastor until he became the head pastor of the church. And this man, I know for a fact that he might have done something evil because of the way that they started blessing him, and they even took him, and he became a pastor in Nigeria for a very long time. And when I tried to speak with my wife about the reason as to why we were no longer getting so much money from the church, and my wife did not believe me, to this very day, my wife, she is still in that church. She divorced me, and when my wife divorced me, I totally lost it. To this very day, I do not have anything. I am someone who is heavily addicted to drugs. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother who says that he do drugs as well as drinking on a daily basis because of the pain of losing his wife, and the wife is still a pastor in that church. She is an independent woman now who owns several businesses. He lost everything. He is even staying at his mom's house. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.